This video accompanies Learning IoT with Python and Raspberry Pi. In this video, you will learn how to write for statements. In addition to a Raspberry Pi 4 or 3 and the usual peripherals, that is to say a keyboard, a mouse, and a monitor, you will also need a SenseHat. You can also use the SenseHat emulator. The for statement can be used to execute a block of code a certain number of times. However, whereas the while loop executes while a certain condition is true, the for loop iterates over iterables. Examples of iterables are the sequence of numbers returned by the range function, strings, and lists. The range function can take a single argument, which will be the stopping value. For instance, when the range function is passed an argument of 10, a sequence of integers from 0 through 9 in steps of 1 is returned. The default start value is 0, the default step value is 1, and the sequence of numbers is not inclusive of the stop value. If the range function is passed arguments of 3 and 10, a sequence of integers from 3 through 9 in steps of 1 is returned. Again, the default step value is 1. If the range function is passed arguments of 3, 10, and 3, a sequence of integers from 3 through 9 in steps of 3 is returned. That is, the sequence will be 3, 6, and 9. When the step value is positive, the start value must be less than the stop value in order for the for loop to iterate. Negative integers may be passed for the start value, the stop value, and/or the step value. If the step value is negative, then the start value must be greater than stop value in order for the for loop to iterate. The syntax of a for statement that iterates over the sequence of numbers returned by the range function is the for keyword, followed by a target, followed by the keyword in, and followed by the range function. The lines of the for suite are indented 4 spaces with respect to the header. The first line that is not indented 4 spaces with respect to the header signals the end of the for statement. We'll write a script that prints out integers in the range 0 through 4. 5 is passed to the range function, 0 is the default start value, and 1 is the default step value. Compare this with a counter control while loop that performs the same task. Here, though, I has to be initialized to 0, and the condition in the while statement is I less than 5. Moreover, I has to be incremented each iteration of the loop. We'll save the script. And run it. Although the for loop version is several lines shorter, the output is identical for both the while loop and the for loop. We'll write a script that displays a countdown from 9 to 0 on the SenseHat, displaying each digit for 1 second, and then scrolls the message blast off in red on the SenseHat. We begin by importing the sleep function from the time module in the SenseHat class from the SenseHat package. We'll create an instance of the SenseHat class and assign it to the variable sense. The for statement that iterates from 9 to 0 can be written for sec and range 9 minus 1 minus 1. We pass minus 1 for the stop value because the sequence of integers returned will not be inclusive of this value. We call the show letter method on sense, and then we call the sleep function. After the for statement, we call the show message method to scroll blast off in red. We'll save the script. And run it. We'll write a script that prompts the user to enter the number of humidity readings and use a for loop to read in the humidity. Pause 1 second between each reading, and each iteration of the loop print out the current humidity and add the current humidity to the total. After the for loop exits, calculate the average humidity. You do not need to include exception handling. We'll import the sleep function from the time module and the SenseHat class from the SenseHat package. We'll assign an instance of the SenseHat class to the variable sense We'll prompt the user to enter the number of readings, convert the user's response to an int type, and assign it to nhum. We'll initialize total hum to 0, which will be the total of the humidity readings. Each iteration of the for loop, the getHumidity method is called on sense, and the return reading is assigned to hum. The current humidity is printed out as well as the loop number. An augmented assignment statement is used to add the current humidity to the total of the humidity readings so far. We'll wait 1 second before taking the next reading. After the for statement, the average humidity is calculated and printed out. We'll save the script. To test this script, we'll enter 7 for the number of readings. The for loop ends and the average is calculated. A for loop can also iterate over the characters in a string. We'll write a script that prompts the user to enter his or her name, and we'll use the for loop to iterate over the letters in the name. We'll save the script and run it. To the question, "What's your name?" we'll enter Mickey. And notice each letter is printed out on a separate line. We'll describe the list type in great detail in Chapter 6. However, you've already been using lists whenever you pass a color to the show message method. A for loop can be used to iterate over the elements in a list as well. We'll assign a list of colors to the variable myColor. And then use a for loop to iterate over the elements in the list. And we'll print out each element, as well as its type. Go to www.learningiot.net for links to where you can buy Learning IoT with Python and Raspberry Pi.